Britain's economy is suffering, and unlike in most countries, the media is trying to shine light on it. The globalists do not want a Brexit to occur, so the propaganda machine has been ordered to continue to spit out its garbage. There is one unmistakable, undeniable fact. Globally, all countries are being forced into the power and control of the globalists and supranational entities. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Let's talk about Britain today. Heavy focus on that, but I want to connect it into a bunch of other things. It's a huge video, a lot to get through, and not much time. I've been covering what's going on with Deutsche Bank, obviously extremely important, and I just wanted to give you an update. This is what the stock is at currently, 13.68, on its way down to zero or close to it. Now, we're not at the bottom. It was lower before, and the media will like to highlight just that little bit. Okay, it's gone up. Don't worry, everything's just fine. But this right here is showing you the 1 year chart. Look at where it was just 1 year ago and look at where it is today. And it's pretty much a straight line downward. I can assure you, unless they get some government assistance, I know exactly where it's going. Moving on. Right here to two of these articles that are very important for today. Britain has suffered a bigger fall in real wages since the financial crisis than any other advanced country apart from Greece. And this right here, it could be an actual fact. It could be propaganda. It could be a complete lie. I'm just going to say one thing. It's that in every country around the world that I've seen, they're not doing very well, and the media tries to cover that up. Yes, they do let out a little bit of information here and there, but ultimately it's covered up. What I'm seeing here is something else. Now, that makes me think that a lot of the media, because it's owned by the globalists, are forcing them to sort of mention things and try to make it look bad and then blame it on a Brexit, which hasn't happened. Just so we're clear, just so everyone's on the same page. A Brexit hasn't occurred yet. Nothing technically has actually happened. Yes, there is a desire to, break away from the tyranny. I get that. But if you think about it, nothing has actually happened. So any sort of blame put on the Brexit is false at this time. A report by the TUC published on Wednesday shows that real wage earnings have declined more than 10% since the credit crunch at the beginning of 2007, leaving the UK equal at the bottom of the wage growth there. What I would say is it's no different than in most countries. In fact, when you compare it not just to Greece as they do here, but you compare it to countries like the US and like many of the other countries in Europe, in fact, the wage growth has been dismal. And if you look at different statistics for the average citizen, we're down not just to financial crisis levels, but in many ways we're down literally decades. And this doesn't spell a good future at this time. You can't conjure up all of this economic growth if you don't have people doing well, the general broad economy doing well. And, there's more here. The TUC found that between 2007 and 2015 in the UK, real wages, income from work adjusted for inflation, fell by 10%. The drop was equal only to Greece. And what I would say here is that we need to think about more than just what they're saying to us, but understand the bigger picture, not just between these dates, but think about that bigger picture. Look around and you see the unemployment rates in Spain and Portugal and in Greece, and realize that, they are obviously in that case very, very bad. However, you need to break it down further, and other countries are in the same conditions. You look at the deflationary spiral that's going on in Europe. It is a lot of contagion that has happened. This is the Euroviral contagion. Then moving on to the next article, as you can see connected in with this, The accumulated wealth of Britain's richest 1% is more than 20 times the total of the poorest fifth, making the country one of the most unequal in the developed world. And this is what happens when you allow the globalists, not the rich guy down your street that drives the Ferrari. I'm talking about the globalists, the richest of the rich people. And these are the individuals who never have to pay any taxes. They own, or perhaps they are CEOs or something like this of these major corporations, and they make the rules, they make the laws using their friends in high positions of power all throughout the government. And then you try to put this sort of statistics on top of it, and it's a bunch of garbage. Look, individuals are suffering more now than they were prior to the financial crisis. Everything that's happened since the financial crisis has made things even worse. So when you talk about a stock market going up, and that is your only statistic, just reference the last video I did where we talk about Venezuela stock market. If you want a stock market that's going up, invest in the Venezuela stock market, if that's what you want. But of course, that's not the case because you devalue the currency and anything can happen. But people are too stubborn. People are too hard-headed all about it. But that's fine. Go pour your money into the Venezuela stock market. Why not take that risk? If you desire that risk for reward, then you should do that. Put your money into that garbage and see where it all goes. Oops. I said that. Okay, moving on to this. Spaniards exhausted by politics, warm to life without a government. Very interesting, actually, what's happening in Spain. For the past 288 days, and I'll just apologize for the small font. This is the New York Times. For some reason, it won't let me zoom in for longer than a minute. Spain has plodded along without an elected national government. For some Spaniards, it's a wonderful thing. No government, no thieves. That's what one individual said. And this all goes in line with what's happening in the Catalan area. Basically, they're saying that they want to be out of this. They don't want any part of Spain. In my visit to Spain recently, there were many, many flags up, and that is a signal of their independence. They want to be true independents at this time. And it looks like it's going in favor. There were many flags up on people's balconies. Very interesting to see that all happen. And then you look at this next article where we see the Forbes talking about the New York Times ran an op-ed by their editorial board decrying corporate inversions on the grounds that taking advantage of the tax code is somehow unpatriotic. Basically what it's saying is the New York Times writes an article saying people avoiding tax is unpatriotic, yet they were avoiding tax themselves. And that's what we need to see, is that, we shouldn't increase taxes because some people are not paying taxes. That's really the mentality here, and it's a failed mentality. What we need to do is, in fact, get less taxes on individuals, and this will actually boost the economy. Wait a second. That's completely opposite from what I've been told. How can you decrease taxes and that's going to bring in more revenue? Well, the tax revenue consistently, I've shown you here before over and over again. I'm bored with that statistic. I assure you it's continuing to rise. However, look at people. They're spending more money than ever, but not on goods and services. They're spending more on their taxes. And that was documented in particular when you look at the GDP statistics a little while ago, where we saw a 5% increase in that one quarter. And that was not because they all of a sudden felt wealthier, consumer confidence garbage statistic, and they decided to go on and buy stuff. No, that was the introduction of Obamacare. And people had to spend more on something that perhaps they were already getting before, the premiums increasing, everything else. So, understand the truth. And that's what I'm all about here at the Money GPS. That $100,000 painting bought to flip is now worth about $20,000. This happens to be one little article. All I wanted to note was that people are trying to get into the game either too late or they're simply not knowledgeable about exactly what different markets there are. So they're getting into real estate. They just buy a home because they see it. They think it's a great deal. They think maybe that real estate always increases. They buy the house and all of a sudden they realize, oops, this area wasn't very good, or perhaps I need to spend more than I thought, or I didn't get that inspection that I needed, and now there's foundation problems and the house can't be lived in for 6 months because of all the work that needs to be done. There's a lot to account for here, and many people just get into the market hoping that it will go up and up because their friend bought a place 10 years ago and now they have made a great money. And the same thing with collectibles too. I recommend collectibles. In fact, in my new book, I mention it. Collectibles are great, but you have to know what you're doing. You can't just, art is going up in value, I'll just buy a piece of art so that it will go up in value. That's not how it works. Collectibles, you have to be very knowledgeable about it. You do not need to be knowledgeable, for example, if you're buying gold bullion. If you know the statistics, if you know what's happening, you buy a piece of gold bullion and you put that somewhere safe, whatever that means to you. But when you're buying art, you need to know something. If you're buying collectible coins, for example, you need to know things. You need to know a lot more, not about the economy, about the general situation. You need to know about that specific asset. It's very crucial, very important. That's what I just wanted to interject that here because it is very important. This last article right here, very quickly, just want to throw it in at the end. Of course, I can't add it to the description. These words need to be even whispered just so they don't hear them too loudly. Pentagon paid for fake Al-Qaeda videos. A controversial foreign PR firm known for representing unsavory characters was paid millions by the Pentagon to create fake terrorist videos. And we've seen a lot of these videos before where the fake Osama bin Laden's, we knew that wasn't him. All of a sudden he has a completely different hair, he's got a different beard, everything's different, but of course they just claim that it's him, and they still do to this day. Anyway, regardless, what I would say is that we've been duped before by the media. We've been duped by everything that's happened with the government and all their statistics and all their games. We know about the invasion of Iraq was false. We know about them going in and blowing up the sides of mountains looking for people and invading countries looking for one simple individual, and it's all a joke, really. We're watching a movie play out, and unfortunately it's not a comedy film, and although it looks like that sometimes, it's a very sad film. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. When you give me a thumbs up, it allows these videos to be pushed up higher in the YouTube ranking, so it tells others that this was a great video. If you found the video informative, I know you'll find my book, The Money GPS, even more informative. Head over to Amazon, where they have a look inside feature that's going to allow you to flip through the pages of the book and see if you like it. Take care.